You're listening to the Chad Hasty Show on demand. Good for you. Now download the KFYO app and listen live weekday afternoons 5 to 7 p.m. Central.
Broadcasting from the great state of Texas, this is the Chad Hasty Show. News and views with a Lone Star perspective. You can sound off during the show by sending Chad a text at 806-680-2790. That's 806-680-2790. Or call in at 1-800-687-0790. Now, here's Chad Hasty.
Good evening, Lubbock, Amarillo, Abilene, Wichita Falls, Midland, Odessa, Dallas, Fort Worth, down in Houston, over in El Paso, and anywhere else inside or outside the great state of Texas, wherever you may be listening on this Friday. Thank goodness it's Friday. Getting you ready for the weekend, getting you ready for hopefully just a nice relaxing weekend out there. Maybe you're on your way home right now. Maybe you're still at the office doing a few things, closing out a few work items of the week. Maybe you still have a couple hours to go. We welcome you into the program. Glad that you are with us today. We've got a very odd, busy Friday show. Normally we don't have a lot of guests on Friday, but we kept on having people go, hey, I really need to get on the show today. Can I get on the show today? Can I come on? Really? Come on. Please. I want on Friday. So that's, we've got a busy Friday show, today, including we're going to visit with Texas State Senator Drew Springer, who made a little bit of news yesterday when, he came back out and said, you know what? And now he was, of course, one of the senators who voted to acquit, the Texas Attorney General, Ken Paxton. But now he wants the lieutenant governor to see if they can reopen impeachment hearings against Ken Paxton, which I don't think they can do. But we're going to visit with Drew Springer coming up at 5:35 this evening. We're also going to visit with Vance Boyd, a candidate for the 19th Congressional District in the Republican Party. He's one of the candidates running against Congressman Jody Arrington. He's in Lubbock today, and so we'll visit with Vance Boyd coming up at about 6:05 this evening. And so, yeah, those are two of the interviews that we have. We also have the good folks from the Lubbock Lions Club. They'll be joining us coming up here shortly, about 10 minutes or so, to discuss a big pancake festival that's going to be coming up in Lubbock. It's one of the big events that people look forward to here in Lubbock. So we'll have all that information coming your way here in about 10 or 12 minutes, and then we've got other just news of the day to get to. We'll also have a interview with the Lady Raider basketball coach, Texas Tech Lady Raider basketball coach, right around 6:30 this evening. So, like I said, busy show that we have this evening. Of course, we want to hear from you whenever we don't have a guest joining us in the studio. Whenever we have time, we want to get to your text messages during the program. You can text in at 806-680-2790. That's 806-680-2790. You can also give us a call at 1-800-687-0790. That's 1-800-687-0790. You can give us a call and sound off on any of the big topics of the day. And of course, when you text in, you can always let us know where you're listening from and all that kind of good stuff. Now, of course, we've got the Pancake Festival that's coming up in Lubbock. Longtime Pancake Festival that's going on. Do you know what's going on this weekend in Wichita Falls? They've got a pancake festival. In Wichita Falls, you've got a big pancake festival. It's the Kiwanis Club's 68th annual pancake festival that's going to be happening on Saturday. And so, not to confuse the two, but apparently we all love pancakes. That's basically what it comes down to. Is that everyone who loves pancakes. It's a long running affair. It seems like, for those who love pancakes. The first voice you hear from when you dial in today, he's not only the show producer, but also the official show librarian for the Chad Hasty Show. It is Nick, the first voice you hear from. We will get to Nick's final topic. We'll get to like his final question coming up in the next. I think we'll have time to do that. If not, Nick, we may just have to wait until next week. But I know you've been looking forward to it all week long. Are you doing well? You good? You're not sick? Okay, because it seems like people are continuing to get sick all around us, and the walls are closing in when it comes to. We have our little health bubble that we're in here in the studios, but outside the studios, it's just people are falling. And there we go. I think you used the word afflicted yesterday when you were talking about some of your family members becoming afflicted with the sickness, and that's what I keep seeing. Are people just they're coming down with it, and they're still wanting to go out and do stuff. I'm like, no, we're good, we're fine, it's okay. Yeah, a lot of people becoming afflicted with whatever is going on out there. But Nick's healthy. He's good. He's in a good mood. We're in a good mood here on the program. We want to hear from you today on the text line, 806-680-2790. That's 806-680-2790. One of the big pieces of breaking news today, Trump must pay $83.3 million to E. Jean Carroll for defamation. The former president has denied the journalist rape and sexual assault accusation. Donald Trump's presidency, through Trump's presidency, she accused him of this. Former President Donald Trump has been ordered by a federal jury to pay $83.3 million to E. Jean Carroll, in addition to a separate $5 million sexual abuse and defamation judgment issued against him last year during Trump's presidency. Carroll accused him of raping her in a dressing room of a store in the mid-'90s and then defaming her by insulting her when she came forward decades later. Trump denied the accusation, telling reporters that they always like to just use, like, pick and choose, like a little line where he said she's not my type. He also completely denied ever doing anything and saying that people would have known. He was a famous person back then, and that they would have known what was going on inside a dressing room in a store. But Trump being ordered today to pay $83.3 million. And as one headline put it, the price for behaving badly. The price for behaving badly is how they put it. The Associated Press, with their version of the story, she says Trump shattered her reputation and opened her up to threats by calling her a liar who only accused him of sexual assault to sell a memoir. The award, when coupled with the $5 million sexual assault and defamation verdict last year from another jury in the case brought by Carroll, raised to $88.3 million what Trump must pay her. Protesting vigorously, he said he would appeal, which of course he will, and he should appeal in this case. And again, this is just one of the many cases that's been filed in lawsuits. It's been filed against Trump, and he's going to continue to fight it. He's going to try to find a court that is not just completely biased against him. And he'll continue to fight this as he should. 806-680-2790. You can send in your thoughts on the text line. We let's see, just a quick story that I wanted to get to before we take the first break. More and more of the moderate Republicans and the independents and the Democrats urging Nikki Haley to continue her campaign, even if it gets really ugly in South Carolina, which it probably will get really ugly in South Carolina. But apparently you have more and more Democrats and the folks like Liz Cheney coming out and saying that Nikki Haley must continue her campaign against Donald Trump. Sean in Abilene, as a member of the Texas National Guard, I'm concerned about the border war between Abbott and Biden. Sean, what are you concerned about? What makes you concerned? Would love to know. Text in, let us know. When we come back, we'll take your phone calls, your text messages. We've got the good folks at the Lubbock Lions Club Pancake Festival who will be joining us, previewing that. We'll be right back.
Baby, I'm not fooling. I'm gonna send you back to schooling. Way down inside.
The Chad Hasty Show can be heard all over West Texas, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. Tune in on News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO in Lubbock, News Talk 940 in Amarillo, News Talk 94.7 and 1470 KYYW in Abilene, and in Wichita Falls on News Talk 96.3 and 1290. The Chad Hasty Show. Make it a part of your drive home, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m.
Clay Travis and Buck Sexton.
Coming up on the Monday edition of the Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show, the latest on the border showdown. We'll look at who's going to prevail. Is it Texas or the Biden regime? Plus, Josh Hammer joins us to talk about this, and Clay.
We'll also break down the ongoing battle between Donald Trump and Nikki Haley. What is the latest? What did the weekend bring us? We'll break it all down for you. Monday edition, Clay and Buck.
Clay Travis and Buck Sexton. Monday morning at 11.
Welcome back to the Chad HD Show. Appreciate you tuning in on this Friday evening, getting you ready for the weekend. And for those of you in Lubbock, we've got a big event that's going to be coming up, and it's coming up quickly next month. It is the Lubbock Lions Club, the 72nd annual Lubbock Lions Club Pancake Festival. We've got Deborah Perry in studio, Terry Holman as well, to discuss this year's Pancake Festival. Welcome back. How are y'all today?
We're great.
We're good.
Bring that microphone a little bit closer. There you go. There you go.
We appreciate the continued support from y'all.
Absolutely. Well, Lions Club, great organization. Y'all do so much great work throughout Lubbock, and give back to so many organizations out there, which we'll talk about here in just a second. But also, I mean, who doesn't love the Pancake Festival? It's been going on for 72 years now.
That's right.
And I don't know of anyone who's been in Lubbock. You know, if they've been here at least 2 or 3 years, you know, they know about the pain. They know they've been there. They've seen it.
We hope. It's interesting. Yeah. There's people that have not ever been.
Well, that's just
We've got to change that.
That's just
We've got to change that.
Let's do that now. What is the Pancake Festival?
The Pancake Festival is a Lubbock institution.
It is.
As you said, 72 years. This is our club is a service club. We focus on collecting money, and this Pancake Festival is our big event that we do that allows us to channel money to local charities and to the Texas Lions Camp in Kerrville.
Absolutely.
So we're a fun bunch, and we like to cook and we like to eat.
And have fun.
Yeah. And so it's just a great fit, and it really is. It is an institution in Lubbock. We get a wide cross range of everybody out there. And you said earlier just for Lubbock, but we really encourage folks to come in from as far away as they can.
Eastern New Mexico, West Texas.
Absolutely.
Yeah, bring it on.
Yeah, well, make a day of it. You know,
that's right.
If you're coming in from out of town, get you a little breakfast or lunch or
make it
stay
all day. Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a family reunion. That's what we do every year. We get together, have fun, eat pancakes, talk, visit. Oh, there's so-and-so.
Yep.
I mean, this is a win-win situation. You come and eat, and you're raising money for our organizations that we serve in the community. So
That's right.
It's amazing. Totally
Absolutely.
amazing.
So if someone hasn't been to the Pancake Festival before, what can they expect when they walk in?
A long line.
That moves very quickly,
yes,
by the way.
Yes,
It does.
yes, it does. We've got some amazing people behind the grills. We're flipping the pancakes. So you'll come up to the grills, you'll get your pancakes or sausage. We've got bacon for sale. We've got coffee and juice to drink. And then we've got lots of goodies for the kiddos to keep them entertained as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so how much are tickets to get in?
$10 ahead of time. You can go to our Facebook page and find information there. You can call our Lubbock Lions Club office. You can go to the Lubbock Lions Club website. Or you can also go on the Facebook page. There's several different Lions that are selling tickets from their own businesses. So go there and ask all the questions you want to. We will get you tickets. And also, Bolton's gas stations have been selling tickets for us for years, and we really appreciate that support from the Bolton gang.
Yeah, that's great. And then so when you get in, the ticket gets you what exactly?
Pancakes.
All the pancakes and sausage you're brave enough to eat.
Yeah.
You can also purchase tokens, which lets you buy for a very small amount of money bacon, things like soft drinks, cotton candy, popcorn, those types of things. But it is an all-you-can-eat pancake festival. I'm sorry we don't have eggs. And we don't have omelets.
And we don't have gluten-free pancakes.
But
sorry.
boy, we got pancakes, and we got a lot of them.
Yeah. And syrup.
We go through normally about 6,000 pounds of pancake mix.
That's all.
We make a bunch of pancakes. Yeah. It's a come in, have fun, stay as long as you feel like you can muster, and eat all the pancakes that you want.
And we have wonderful entertainment, and that is being posted on our Facebook page as well.
That's right.
So that keeps us busy all day long. And I'll be honest with you, if you want to come and visit when it's not so busy, come later in the afternoon. Yeah. So that's a great time. We're pretty busy in the morning, but if you want to come in the afternoon or come for supper / dinner time, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
It's a great time.
And Terry, you brought up earlier that, the line, it goes so quickly. Even if you look at it and you're like, oh my goodness, I can't, we're going to be in this line for a long time. Y'all are moving it through pretty quickly. People are getting food, going and sitting down, and it's inside the Civic Center, so it's a large area.
It is. We've secured the entire Civic Center, so we have the entire parking lot. We have the concourse, so there's no waiting outside. And we have timed that line before, and it really, like Terry said, it really does move quick.
Yeah, that's great. And so when you go, even if you buy your tickets in advance, take a couple dollar bills, so that way you can buy some tokens, and that all goes back to the Lions Club. And what does that money help y'all do?
So what we do, we use that money to help support the organizations in the community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And by the way, I think it's important to note that every dollar that we net out of this Pancake Festival does go to charities. In our club, we have a whole separate amount of money that we as members pay for our administrative costs. So this is not sifting off 20% off just to pay the help. This every dollar that we net out does go to charities. The Boy Scout Troop 157, Goodwill, CASA, Salvation Army, Habitat for Humanity, Ronald McDonald House, the Scottish Rite Learning Center, Texas Boys Ranch, and that's just to name a few.
That's right.
We
Goes
have
on and on.
a large number of community partners that we just really do enjoy. We love eating fried food. That's our slogan. And we love giving away money.
That's right.
And this allows us to do the second, to allow us to give away money.
And we'll also have raffles. We've had raffles in the past, and so we're working on that as well, too. So, and volunteers.
So bring lots of extra cash.
Yeah, bring lots of extra cash.
Yeah.
Or
and
your
hungry.
credit card or Venmo.
That's right.
We're finally in the 21st century, and we do take multiple ways of payment.
Yes.
And you can purchase your tickets online if you choose to do that. By the way, that's LubbockLions.org.
Thank you, Tom.
If anybody wants to go have a look, we try to make it as easy and 21st century as possible to
seamless
to help us out. Quite frankly.
You can buy the tickets online and the tokens and just pick those up at the will call table.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's easy to do. The Pancake Festival, it's coming up on February 17th. How long? Because I know y'all have been working the Pancake Festival for so many years. How long does it take to get everything, get the project together and really go? Does it start like the day after the one pancake festival?
Not far.
We got to get the smell out of the clothes first. Yeah.
Exactly.
And then it's definitely a concerted effort that we start putting all this together.
Now, does Lubbock still hold the record for the most pancakes?
I'm going to say yeah.
Okay.
So there,
technically.
Yeah, there was another group that did it a little differently.
Yeah. And they were not a nonprofit.
Yeah. So we're going to say we hold a record.
That's
How about
right.
Okay,
that?
I like it. That's good. That's good. That's good.
Back to your question, I think it's good to share that, we spend all day Friday setting up, and we all worked very hard all day Saturday. We serve until 8 o'clock Saturday night, and we are well oiled enough now that we're normally out of that building by 10 o'clock.
Yeah. I mean, that's tearing the grills down, the gas lines, the whole bit. It's pretty amazing, the support that we get, the volunteer support we get from the community.
Speaking of volunteers.
Yeah.
If someone's interested in becoming a Lion, what should they do? What else does, besides the Pancake Festival, what are some other opportunities that the Lions Club does?
Well, we sell flags on the Broadway for the July 4th flag sales. We raise that money for the Boy Scout troop. We do the Kids Fish that's coming up in April. That is becoming one of the newest events. I believe it's our 10th annual Kid Fish. And so we've got some other events that we keep involved in the community. Good. And that's important because we all belong to each other.
So when do y'all meet?
Oh, Tuesdays at noon.
And I'll do a shameless plug here. Our Lions Club office the phone is 763-4789. And anyone is welcome to call the office. We certainly would hope that someone would have a friend who might be a member who let them in. But we encourage anybody who has a servant heart, who's willing to step up and give a little bit, to join our club.
Thank you all very much for coming in.
Thank you, Chad. We appreciate you.
The Chad Hasty Show, weekdays 5 to 7 p.m. Sound off during the show by sending Chad a text at 806-680-2790.
This message is from the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. Veterans deserve to know about the best services available to them. VA's new radio outreach page is a prime source for that information. The page, news.va.gov/outreach/radio, houses public service announcements that educate veterans on a cross-section of topics. That's news.va.gov/outreach/radio.
There will be one less birthday party to celebrate today. One less coffee date with a friend today. One less family dinner today. Because there will be one less motorcycle rider on the road today. On average, a motorcyclist is killed on Texas roads every day. When you're behind the wheel, obey the speed limit and be extra careful at intersections. Let's start turning that one less into one more. Please share the road and look twice for motorcycles. There's a life riding on it. A message from TxDOT.
The news and talk of West Texas. News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO. You're listening to The Chad Hasty Show.
Chad Hasty Show. Let's see. Should be hearing from State Senator Drew Springer here in just a second. We were working out a few technical things there. State Senator Drew Springer, who will join us here on the Chad HT Show as we talk about Ken Paxton, the Texas Attorney General. Yesterday, one of the headlines out there that we have seen. One headline: Republican senator who voted to acquit Paxton wants Senate to consider reopening impeachment proceedings. And joining us right now on the Chad HT Show, always a pleasure to visit with our next guest, is Texas State Senator Drew Springer here on the Chad HT Show. Welcome back, sir. How are you this evening?
Hey, Chad, I'm doing great. How are you doing tonight?
Doing great. Appreciate you joining us. Well, you're turning some heads in the Senate and in the political world in Texas, because you've like I said in this headline, you've come out recently and said, "Hey, it's time to reopen impeachment if we can." What made you decide to go down this course? Because you were one of the senators who voted to acquit the Attorney General.
No, absolutely, and that's because the months leading up to the trial, Attorney General Paxton said he was innocent. He wanted to tell his story. We got to the trial. He chose not to take the stand, and his defense team laid out theirs, said he was innocent. Everything was all made up. There was no story here whatsoever. And, it was just enough stuff that didn't rise to without a reasonable doubt, and we voted to acquit. Doesn't mean he was totally innocent. And moved on down the road, and all of a sudden last week, Attorney General Paxton makes a filing with the court that says, I don't contest anything that the whistleblowers are saying, basically saying what they're saying is true, and so therefore I'm guilty, and tell me how much the Texas taxpayers owe. And so, that was a total change, and that was really what the tipping point was. And so it's like, hold on, if you're admitting to guilt, then maybe we need to readdress the whole impeachment process.
If he's in the court filing, and what he has said, what his team has said afterwards is, well, the AG is not admitting to guilt. He's just not contesting this because he wants to put this issue to bed and move on. Is it fair to say that that's the exact same thing as admitting guilt?
It is. I mean, you're saying it in public opinion that you're not guilty in this, but by saying that you don't contest to anything that they're saying, and the judge, therefore, then is going to say, well, I've got to believe everything they're saying, so you're going to get the maximum amount of damages potentially. That really is where it gets down to, that there's an admission. And I realize Ken Paxton has spent more time fighting, a 4 to 6 hour deposition where if he was honest and he's done nothing wrong, you're in, you're out. I've been deposed. Many people that run businesses have been deposed. You go in, it's sort of like a root canal. It's sort of necessary. You don't enjoy it, but you get in and out. If he did what he said, then the whistleblowers wouldn't get a dime of Texas taxpayer dollars. In this case, they're going to get well in excess of the $3.3 million, which was the initial one they thought they had a settlement on, that now the Supreme Court has ruled that it has been no settlement, to be able to move on. And I get it. That's the smokescreen that, his team is trying to say, no. He's not really admitting that he's guilty, even though it's right there in the court documents.
Do you feel duped by the Attorney General? Misled?
I feel duped, misled, lied to, whatever the case is, you were told that this is the story. Absolutely. I'm mad at the House. I never had my day in court. I never got to tell my side of the story. Now here's your time to go in and do a deposition. Tell your side of the story. If you didn't want to say it in the trial, we'd be in and out and done with this. Donald Trump doesn't fight his depositions. He doesn't fight going to court. He got one today that ruled against him. He's going to appeal it and go forward from that standpoint. But, Ken Paxton takes a totally different stance than, what Donald Trump does. Of course, we can probably get into the fact that, Donald Trump has, served the country and has lost money, whereas Ken Paxton has figured out how to get rich being the Attorney General.
So expand on that, because I heard you on our friend Mark Davis's show earlier today talking about that, in that this seems to be an issue that you're focusing on is the quote unquote enrichment of Ken Paxton while serving in office.
No, exactly, and that just now adds on to the fuel of the fire. Okay, I had moved past the fact that he hasn't filed his personal financial disclosure statements. Look, Charles Perry files it, Dustin Burrows, Carl Tepper, Drew Springer, but so has Greg Abbott, Dan Patrick, Don Buckingham, Wayne Christian. We all file this so you know what we own, property, stocks, what we bought and sold. And that way you realize that your elected officials are not enriching themselves while they're members. Ken Paxton refuses to do those, refuses to put those things out there. And we're in pre-trial, we heard that he added, millions of dollars worth of property all over the world, Maui, all these deals, while he's on a paltry government salary. It wasn't until he started hanging around with Nate Paul that all of a sudden these type of things changed.
Why was this not an issue during the impeachment trial?
Look, the properties never got brought up in the trial. And look, I took my responsibility very serious at the trial. And it was supposed to be on what is presented, what's in front of us, not what you'd heard over the last 10 years about Ken Paxton or anything else. What was laid out? The properties never brought up. Those type of things weren't brought out. And we didn't hear from the Attorney General. Nobody went down some of those paths. They focused on the whistleblowers. And I think the attorneys who did the prosecution on that side were uninspiring. I would say it to be kind, and left a shadow of a doubt. And that when you had to convict, that was our standard. It was clear. Standard is going to be it's got to be beyond a reasonable doubt. So, it doesn't mean that we thought he was innocent.
What does that mean?
I mean, you're innocent of no wrongdoings. I mean, look, in the documents, there is the Uber receipts that Nate Paul paid for, so Ken Paxton could go cheat on his wife with, his mistress, who was a Senate staffer. I mean, he was cheating on his wife with another Senate staffer, and so those are in the documents. But that wasn't what the charges were about having an affair. Was not the impeachment in front of us.
So let me, and I want to ask you two questions to see if this is fair or not. It's fair to ask or fair to say, because when people look back on the impeachment trial, it seems to have been, well, this was just a slam dunk. The Senate had no problem whatsoever with Ken Paxton. Most senators, Republican senators, had no problem with Ken Paxton whatsoever. Are you kind of telling me that there was a mood, maybe among you and maybe some other Republicans, that we don't feel great about this guy, we don't feel wonderful about this guy, it just doesn't rise to the level of impeachment?
I think that's exactly. I'll speak for me personally. That was exactly how I've been. Look, I'll let you speak with the other senators. I don't want to put words in their mouth.
Sure, of course.
Of where they were, but it's exactly where I felt on this. You didn't feel good about it. You felt like when you got done, it's like, I vote to quit. I hope this guy never stands for office again. I think it's a disgrace to our state and our party. But it just doesn't rise to what the charges were in front of us. Why
didn't we hear that? I mean, you didn't say that after the trial. We haven't heard that from any other senator out there. We've heard it from a lot of House members who have been defending themselves, but we haven't heard it from anyone else other than you right now. Why not say that after the trial?
Look, I mean, I came out after the trial and said, look, I thought the way this process worked, that the legislative process was not the right way, that this should have been dealt with as a law enforcement court activity to be able to vet these things out, to where it's much more along those lines and didn't belong into a political trial. I've made those statements. Now, I didn't know that he was going to come back out, 4 months later and basically say, I don't disagree with what the whistleblowers are saying. let's just tell me what we owe and let's get this settled so I don't have to be deposed.
And of course, that would go back to the taxpayers to pay. It wouldn't go back to him personally. It would go back to the taxpayers
right.
to pay that.
It would go back to the taxpayers, and in addition to that, the legislature has to approve those payments. It is not the fact that the court tells the Attorney General's office to pay it. And so that is one of the challenges in there. And the legislature is going to say, we're not going to just cut a check without being able to talk and depose and hear from and sworn testimony from the Attorney General. Be in deposition, it's going to be in this. I mean, that was one of the things that the House talked about in their process is, we want to hear from the Attorney General.
Right. Visiting with Texas State Senator Drew Springer from Senate District 30, not seeking re-election. He's retiring, which the AG kind of took a swipe at you. And the best I remember, you two, I mean, you've campaigned for him before, you've endorsed him before, and now he's saying that you haven't been a good senator, which I haven't seen anyone ever say that other than maybe a Democrat. So he's saying that you're a bad senator now and that you're leaving because you wouldn't have won re-election, and now you've got to go earn your a salary in the private sector. What's your reaction to that?
Look, I mean, again, one of the top-rated conservatives. I was always rated immensely higher than both, Ken and his wife Angela. In all the measurements from there, I would have won by over probably 50 points. I mean, I beat somebody with 100% name ID. The only person who was going to run against me, had, literally zero name ID. She's running. She probably wanted to make the runoff for this race. And then I tell you what, it is an absolute insult to Texans when Ken Paxton says somebody had to go back into the private sector to make a living. I mean, that's the way it's supposed to be. You're not supposed to enrich yourself on your position as an elected official. And I didn't do that. I didn't get rich being an elected official. I got my $600 a month. I lost money serving the state of Texas. I was happy to do it. It was a great time of my life. And I have no issues going back to work with my father in a successful financial planning company. And I'll make my money there versus, how you get these properties and how you could afford to take a 6-week European vacation while you're working for the state government. I don't know how you do that, but apparently Ken Paxton's figured out how. And the funny one is his own consulting company, Axiom, ran ads against him, accusing him of getting rich when they ran the campaign against his wife, Angela Paxton. So there's a long history of Ken enriching himself, apparently.
I've only got a couple of minutes left here, so I want to ask you just really quick. One, have you heard anything from the lieutenant governor? And two, do you have any other Republican senators who voted to acquit the AG? Have you heard from any of them saying, yes, we need to reopen this?
I've talked to some senators, both R's, D's, and everybody has concern. Nobody has said they want to reopen it. I think a lot of people are like, I'm just getting my life back type of situation.
Right.
And it's all new. And it's been the lieutenant governor. Look, I mean, this is just sprung on him. He's down working on the border with Governor Abbott, trying to stop the nightmare that Joe Biden has created for us from that. And so this is all fresh and new. We'll see where it goes from there. But again, I mean, it's one of those where I think that our top law enforcement officer has to be on the up and up, and that's what Texans, desire.
Very good. Texas State Senator Drew Springer, as always, we appreciate you joining us. We'll let you get to your weekend now, and we'll visit with you down the road.
Hey, I got to say, the one real quick, I'm really happy for my old coach at UNT, Grant McCaslin, is doing a fantastic job with the Red Raiders. And so I'm cheering for him every time he's coaching. And UNT did beat SMU last night. So we're still doing well down here.
Very good. And we're happy to have him here. Thank you so much, Senator. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, Chad.
That's Texas State Senator Drew Springer here on the Chad HD Show. Your reaction and more when we come back.
Clay Travis and Buck Sexton.
Coming up on the Monday edition of the Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show, the latest on the border showdown. We'll look at who's going to prevail. Is it Texas or the Biden regime? Plus, Josh Hammer joins us to talk about this, and Clay.
We'll also break down the ongoing battle between Donald Trump and Nikki Haley. What is the latest? What did the weekend bring us? We'll break it all down for you. Monday edition, Clay and Buck.
Clay Travis and Buck Sexton. Monday morning at 11.
A tornado is on the ground. You're at work, your spouse is at a meeting, the kids are at 3 different schools. Power and cell are out, and your home is inaccessible. Now what? Have a preset meetup plan. Share it with everyone in your family and practice it. Know the emergency plans at work and school, too. Get ahead of what's ahead. Be informed, make a plan, build a kit. Hashtag Texas Ready. Go to txready.org for more information.
All right, we're wrapping up this hour. I told you it's going to be a very busy show today. We've got Vance Boyd coming up, candidate for the 19th Congressional District in the Republican primary. He'll join us to discuss his campaign. We had a lot of text coming in about Senator Drew Springer, what he had to say. One texter saying no contest is not an admission of guilt, and that's exactly right. Just saying that you're not going to contest what the allegations are. That is not admitting. It's not the same thing as admitting guilt. You may want to think it is. You may want to spin that in that way, but it is not legally, technically, an admission of guilt. And that is something to remember. It's something key to remember, because words matter and things like that matter. Legality matters. We'll be right back on the Chad Hasty Show.
The Chad Hasty Show, a presentation of the Texas Town Square Media Network. The views and opinions expressed during the Chad Hasty Show are not necessarily the views of this station staff, management, advertisers, or Town Square Media. Broadcasting from the great state of Texas, this is the Chad Hasty Show. News and views with a Lone Star perspective. You can sound off during the show by sending Chad a text at 806-680-2790. That's 806-680-2790. Or call in at 1-800-687-0790. Now, here's Chad Hasty.
All right, welcome back to the Chad Hasty Show. Final hour of the program. Want to remind you, you can always download the Chad Hasty Show podcast right after the show ends. You can listen anywhere you download your favorite podcast from. We'll have all the interviews, the entire show right there on the Chad Hasty Show podcast. And don't forget, tomorrow, Saturday, a new episode of the Current and Cask podcast, featuring myself and my old buddy Matt Martin, as we do a little whiskey review and also talk a little current events and politics and everyday life. We drop that one episode a week on Saturdays is when that'll come out. So you can subscribe, follow anywhere you get your podcast from. Again, want to thank Texas State Senator Drew Springer for joining us in the last hour. We move on. We continue to talk politics and also the primary season continuing. And we like to have as many candidates as possible joining us here on the show to tell you all about them, their campaigns, why they're running for office. And we have Vance W. Boyd in the studio today, running in the Republican primary for the 19th Congressional District. And Vance, welcome to the show. How are you this evening?
Great, and I appreciate you having me in. I look forward to telling the folks who I am and where I hope to take the district.
Yeah, well, and I appreciate you coming in. Your campaign emailed me earlier today, or I guess in the area in Lubbock today. When you were traveling through Lubbock, what'd you hear from folks?
Well, I've got nothing but positive feedback. We went to a lunch meeting with the ABC Rodeo people, and I gave out all my yard signs and all my bumper stickers. So it was a very friendly crowd, and we're all on the same page that business as usual in these crazy times is not an option anymore. Well, and the political class that has sat by silent or offered weak half-hearted resistance, that they're not getting done. We've seen what weak leadership and weak men can do to this country, and people are ready for a change, a big one.
Well, tell folks a little bit about yourself and why you decided to run for office.
Well, it's one of those things where you can complain and wonder why someone doesn't do something, or you can do something. You can get in it and try to make a difference. And to be honest with you, we're taking on both parties at this point. There's a powerful incumbent who's done very well for himself in D.C., got some real impressive titles and committee assignments, and none of that helps the people of this district. It builds a nice resume for him, but, the single mother who has to put off paying her car payment so she can buy groceries, those impressive titles and being a part of the political class that frankly seems to look down at the working people of this country, it's time for a change.
So what are there some votes that you've disagreed with the incumbent on, one or is it just that he's kind of, like you said, got a lot of titles?
Well, on the political points, the conservative points, check the box, we line up pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
But the money to Ukraine, the debt, the trillions added to the debt, which is directly linked to inflation. Government spending is the spark that lights that fuse, and off you go. And the one thing, it seems he has no sense of urgency. The time for talk and working with a group of people that are out to destroy our way of life and what we hope to pass on to our kids and grandkids, it's time to do something now.
So the voting record isn't where you disagree. It seems like it's on how you would approach the current state of affairs. Is that right?
The voting record on some of the budget issues, yeah, I have a big disagreement.
Okay.
The money to Ukraine, what have they given them? Well over $100 billion now. Mm-hmm. I mean, where's it going to stop? And you see what's going on at the border. It's out of control. And I agree with Abbott on most things, and I had some strong disagreements on others. But I got to take my hat off to him for standing up for Texas, and what he's facing down there is very impressive. And it's a tough battle, but Texans have his back.
So let's say you were in D.C. right now. What would you be doing differently?
First of all, we have to have term limits. That's step one. You shouldn't go there for decades and leave a multimillionaire. I think, $174,000 a year is a really nice payday. It's probably the top 1% in this district. Do 6 years, go home to your life. And I'm a big Donald Trump fan. I cannot believe everything he got done when he was under assault 24/7 the whole time. And I'm really looking forward to his next term because I think will hopefully surround himself with real allies. And we've seen how crazy it gets. Compare these last 4 years to the 4 years prior, and we're in a different universe. And the inflation it's crushing working people. If you make $174,000 a year, you probably don't feel it.
Mm-hmm.
But again, when someone has to buy groceries and everything's in real money is 40 to 50% higher, it actually changes your lifestyle. It changes your quality of life and the future for your family. You're hoping to pass on a better Texas District 19.
And going back to term limits, you brought up term limits. So you're saying that you would not run for more than 3 terms?
I would not run for more than 3 terms. If the good Lord sees fit to put me in that position, I would.
What if you looked around and you saw that there's not a lot of good folks in Congress right now, and that you could do a better job?
Well, I tell you what, there's an inexhaustible pool of talented people in Texas District 19 to step in.
Yeah.
And to think, again, that's sort of, you kind of hit it on the head right there. It's like a ruling class that assumes nobody in the room is as smart as them. And whether it's oil and gas, farming, ranching, healthcare, finance, as the congressman for this district, I would want people in those fields in this district to tell me what I can do to make that field better, more successful, and where, put these problems to bed once and for all. This kicking the can down the road and using problems, frankly, as leverage in the next election cycle is not what our founders intended when they wanted a House filled with people chosen from among the people to act in their best interest.
You brought up Donald Trump and that you're a Trump supporter. Is there a member of Congress, a member of the House that you look at and go, yeah, I like that. I like them. I like their leadership. I like what they're doing.
Well, they're kind of, if the Republican Party ever unites and acts as a team, they could rule the board. I like what Matt Gaetz did on the budget and the speakership. He drew a line in the sand, and he didn't blink, and he made it happen. And I would hope that I would align myself with people like that had the same sense of urgency, that we can't play politics anymore. Every election, they say this is the most important election of our lifetime. I think it might be this might be the one.
Yeah. So, for those who they're tuning in, they're they're looking at who all's running in this race, and there are some other opponents, some other folks who are running in this race against an incumbent. And we were talking before we went on the air that it's always hard to beat an incumbent,
right?
And you're working hard. You're going city to city and town to town, talking to people. What is maybe priority number 1 or 2 for you if elected?
Got to get government spending under control immediately.
It's easy to say. I've heard that.
I know it's easy to
for
say.
A long time, my friend.
I know, and it's but if you've ever had, it's kind of strange.
I've heard it from both parties too. By the way,
absolutely. In your household budget, you see how much money you have, you budget accordingly. In government, at every level, it seems you see how much money you need, and you go get it. We got to switch that back. For every additional dollar added to the budget, one should be cut somewhere. I mean, once our economy is unleashed, the growth potential is unlimited. And again, this being detached from the people that put you in office is where this happens. It doesn't affect them, the inflation. When I was mayor in Anson, and it was very eye-opening because your constituents aren't 1,500 miles away, write a letter, maybe he'll respond, maybe he won't. You see him at the baseball game, at the grocery store, at Sunday school, and you have immediate access to your representative. And one of the things I would propose immediately and set in place is an advisory council with a representative from each county from this district to advise me what they need and have direct access to me anytime they need it. I've had so many people tell me they've written letters to our congressman. They never hear back. And just when you are in a position of power and influence and can improve somebody's life, ease their anxiety in these times, and you don't do it, that's unconscionable.
How can people find out more about you and your campaign and I guess different events that you're going to be holding throughout the district?
Well, you can go to my website. It's vancewboyd.com, and we have a video series on there, and it's just like a subject of the week, like 1-minute videos. I did one on this transgender nonsense and did one on the country of origin labeling, where for some reason they don't want you to know where your beef comes from, and just did a video a couple of weeks ago about the double taxation on your Social Security, which I cannot believe someone hasn't picked this up yet. Doubling the taxing twice the same money. It started in the 80s, and it was the top of the top got taxed, and then Bill Clinton amped it up where, they take money out of your check every week with a promise you're going to get it all back, and then when you do, they're going to tax it again.
Right, yeah. So VanceWboyd.com is your website.
Yes, sir.
All right. Vance, thanks for stopping by today.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me in, and I look forward to meeting the people of the district and anyone that wants to reach out to me anytime, I welcome the feedback. And it's going to be a fun election cycle.
All right. Sounds great. Thanks for stopping by. When we come back, your phone calls, your text, and more on the Chat Hasty Show.
The Chad Hasty Show can be heard all over West Texas, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. Tune in on News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO in Lubbock, News Talk 940 in Amarillo, News Talk 94.7 and 1470 KYYW in Abilene, and in Wichita Falls on News Talk 96.3 and 1290. The Chad Hasty Show. Make it a part of your drive home, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m.
Clay Travis and Buck Sexton.
Coming up on the Monday edition of the Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show, the latest on the border showdown. We'll look at who's going to prevail. Is it Texas or the Biden regime? Plus, Josh Hammer joins us to talk about this, and Clay.
We'll also break down the ongoing battle between Donald Trump and Nikki Haley. What is the latest? What did the weekend bring us? We'll break it all down for you. Monday edition, Clay and Buck.
Clay Travis and Buck Sexton. Monday morning at 11.
All right, welcome back. Chad Hasty Show. Appreciate everybody tuning in. It's been a very busy show today. I have had a lot of guests. Still have one more to go. We have a interview that we recorded with the head coach of the Lady Raider basketball team from Texas Tech. We'll get that to you at about 6:35. So it's like I said, it's been a very busy show. That's for sure. 1-800-687-0790. You can text in at 806-680-2790. Some text messages that have come in today. Blake in Lubbock, I would just like to remind Texans and other Americans that if any of our ships or bases in the Middle East get hit, then we will treat that as if it was an attack on the continental United States. We'll go to war. As an enlisted member of the United States Air Force, I understand the need to protect this great nation. And thank you for your service, by the way. Another texter weighing in. Robert says, and this is Robert in Oklahoma, I believe that all the officials in Texas should simply ask the Border Patrol federal agents if they think it's lawful order for them to allow immigrants in, because it's really the only way to ignore an order is to claim that it's an illegal order. And then let's see, Sean in Abilene responded where he said, as a member of the Texas National Guard, I'm concerned about the border war between Abbott and Biden having to disobey federal orders to cut a fence if we're activated by the president. I will not act against the safety and security of Texas. It would be against my oath to uphold the Constitution. And there have been, and I understand that. I get that. I listen, there's going to be civil disobedience. There are going to be people who ignore, I hope, what the administration is trying to push. But, you know, listen, the state of Texas right now is continuing to fight back against this administration, and that's exactly what they should be doing. The Attorney General has sent a letter back to the federal government, and he wraps it up by saying, as I have said before, this office will continue to defend Texas' efforts to protect its southern border against every effort by the Biden administration to undermine the state's constitutional right of self-defense. You should advise your clients to join with us or to join us in those efforts by doing their job and following the law. The Attorney General also went on to say, without clarifying both the metes and bounds of the federal government's alleged property rights and how it's lawful to access such property has been in any way impeded, the state cannot meaningfully assess your demand, but to the extent your agency demands access, in order to once again transform Shelby Park into an unofficial and unlawful point of entry, your request is hereby denied. So again, you have the state of Texas defiant against the federal government, which I think is a very good thing. Now, I've had questions that have been sent to me asking, does this lead to a civil war? You know, you've had 25 now, 25 governors who are standing with the state of Texas. No, this won't lead to a civil war. This itself won't lead to a civil war. But you're seeing again the early beginnings maybe of this national breakup, of this long breakup that we have been talking about before, where we see that there are some states who stand on the side of the Constitution and stand on the side of states having sovereign power, and the states saying that they do have power to protect themselves, and a federal government that says you're wrong and you do not have that power, and a federal government that is being overreaching, and a federal government that, even when overreaching, they're not doing it for the perceived benefit of the nation or for the perceived benefit of the states. They are harming the states. And you have other states in the nation who are standing with the federal government. This should be, at this point, everyone against Joe Biden and the federal government. Everyone should be out there saying that Texas has a right to defend its border. The mayor of New York City should be out there saying Texas has every right to defend itself. Trust me, if the mayor of New York City could lay down razor wire and prevent buses filled with illegal immigrants going into their city, they'd love to do it. The mayor of New York City hates the fact that Abbott is continuing to send buses filled with illegal immigrants to New York City. These mayors who declared their cities sanctuary cities, they're hating life right now. But who are they standing with? They're standing with the Democrats. They're standing with Joe. They're not standing with a state that is trying to prevent illegal immigration. That's how messed up this is. That's how absolutely crazy it is. When we come back, your phone calls, your text messages, and much more to go on the Chad Hasty Show.
Call in to the Chad Hasty Show at 1-800-687-0790. The Chad Hasty Show, broadcasting on the Texas Town Square Media Network.
Today's markets from the Texas Department of Ag.
Howdy, neighbors. Texas feeder cattle auctions reporting prices $3 to $15 higher. Cattle futures also up. February live cattle futures up 72 cents to close at $178.45. March feeder cattle futures up $1.52, close at $239.70. March cotton futures down a point, close at 84.37. March wheat futures down 13 to close at 6.24 a bushel. March corn down a nickel, closed at 4.46. March soybean futures down 14 cents, closing at $12.09 a bushel. March soybean meal futures down $9.20, closed at $349 a ton. January Class B milk futures were steady at $15.20 a hundred. March crude oil futures up 65 cents, closed at 78.01 a barrel. The Dow Jones up 60 points, closed at 38,109. And that's the market roundup from the Texas Department of Agriculture. I'm your commissioner, Sid Miller. And remember, friends, Texas agriculture matters.
The news and talk of West Texas. News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO. You're listening to The Chad Hasty Show.
Welcome back to the Chad Hasty Show. You're on the Texas Town Square Media Network. We appreciate you tuning in, whether you're in Lubbock, Amarillo, Abilene, Wichita Falls, anywhere else across the great state of Texas, tuning in on this evening, or outside the state. We always appreciate you tuning in on this program and hearing the latest, as we normally, of course, talk politics, but also get into everything else going on in the state of Texas. And one of the big things happening in our region in the state of Texas, Lady Raider basketball. It's happening this season, and Lady Raider head coach Krista Gerlich joining us here in studio once again for another season of Lady Raider basketball. Welcome back, Coach. How are you?
Thank you. I'm really good. Thank you so much for having me.
Now
you just named all of my favorite places
hey, there
in
you
Texas.
go.
I probably lived in most of them.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, this is you're entering, is this your fourth season?
My fourth season, yes.
Fourth season as Lady Raider head coach. Just entering the fourth season, what is that like for you? I mean, what is how does that feel?
Yeah,
into
well,
the fourth
time
season?
flies, first of all.
Yeah.
I mean, it goes by pretty quick. But secondly, it's hard to believe that this is our fourth season. It's been a hard build. We've been trying to build up and try to get better every single season. And I think the first couple of years were really difficult through COVID and all the different things that we were having to deal with. And now I feel like we've got a really good base with our program and with our kids, and really starting to see where we're trying to go with this program. And it takes time. It takes really a lot of time to build it right, because we want to build it to sustain. We don't want to be a one-hit wonder, if you will. And I think that people are seeing that with our team this year and how young we truly are, but a lot of talent and a lot of success as well.
For those who, maybe they're starting to pay attention to Lady Raider basketball, starting to go to some of the games. I know we've been giving away tickets here on this the radio station here in Lubbock. We've been giving away tickets. Who are some of the players that, if they, like you said, young team, who do they need to know about?
Yeah, we have a group of sophomores that are really our core this year, and I'm really excited about them. Bailey Maupin is actually a West Texas kid, right? She's from Groover, and is having a great season. Jasmine Shavers also is another leading scorer, who's a Texas kid as well, and doing some fabulous things. Both of them are really fun to watch. Kyla Freelon is a sophomore that's just so talented and so athletic. So fun to watch her run up and down the floor and get those rebounds. And then we've got some upperclassmen, Jordan Merritt, who was a transfer in. That's a 5-star that's from the Dallas area. And also Ashley Chevalier is having a really big year. And those are just a few of them, but those 5 in particular really seem to give us a lot of energy and are really fun to watch. They play in the full court. We press up and down, and it's an exciting brand of basketball.
How has and you mentioned, transferring, and, I think a lot of people, if you don't pay attention to college basketball, you hear about transferring in college football. But when it comes to the NIL, and I don't think the last time we spoke, we even talked about this. How is that changing? Forget about just college basketball, but women's college basketball. How is that changing or look to be changing women's college basketball?
Yeah, well, it's definitely part of the conversation, and we want to be in it. I think that it's definitely different in women's basketball because the upper echelon of teams are definitely using it. The ones that are a little bit, down the line are not, because they probably don't have the support to do that. Mm-hmm. And so I love that Texas Tech is right there willing to help us, because we want to be upper echelon. We want to be, a top 10 team. We want to be playing for a national championship again. And whether it's fortunately or unfortunately, NIL is part of it. And so it definitely is part of the conversation if you want to get in on those kids. The transfer portal, again, is difficult. It makes things difficult. But if we're doing our job in the way that I want to build this program, which is by relationships and being genuine and really having kids love Texas Tech and love what we're doing here, then that transfer portal is only going to be used to help us. And I think last year was a great example. We only had one kid enter the portal last year, and it was for playing time purposes, which is a very valid reason to transfer. Right. And so I love the fact that doesn't mean that we're not going to have people come in and out, but at the same time, we do want longevity. We want stability. We want kids to graduate from here. And that's important to Lady Raider basketball.
Well, and I'm glad you brought up stability too, because, something that I've noticed the past couple of years as to the past years with Lady Raider basketball is it seems like the girls who are playing for the Lady Raider basketball team, who are playing for you've got a stable staff. It seems like they love playing at Texas Tech, and they love the staff, they love the coaches, they love each other. It's just it seems like the last couple of years have been very cohesive.
Yes, it's definitely helped us. That's definitely my vision. I mean, that's the way I've always coached. That's why I really think I'll have a hard time if it becomes. I can't be so transactional for me. It has to be more transformational, and obviously we want the relationship piece. And I'm just not good at people coming in and out of my life yearly. I want them to come in and stick and stay and really believe in a mission. And I feel like that's what we're doing.
When it comes to obviously the Big 12 is changing. It's getting bigger. We've got teams exiting. We've got teams coming in. Talk about just what the Big 12 play means to the team, what the expectations are this season, but also fans in the stands and what that means for this team.
Yeah, the Big 12 is a grind. As crazy of a gauntlet as it is for the men, it really is for the women too. I mean, we have some high level teams in our conference, and not only that, but just the travel alone is really hard, and it's gives us a great experience, but at the same time, it's really hard to win on the road in the Big 12. So it's important that when we're at home, our stands are full, that we have Lady Raider Nation behind us, and that we're able to protect home court as much as possible. And we've really been able to do that this year with their help. We've had great crowds. I think we're second in attendance in the conference, and we're 8th overall in the nation, and that's huge for us, and we want to continue to grow that. But for our young team, it really helps us take care and protect home court advantage. And then, of course, you brought up the safety piece of it. We are really good about being accessible to our fans, and after we win ball games at home, we allow our fans to come out on the court and get autographs and pictures with our team, and I think that's really important. But I think you saw over the weekend, some things that it can be really dangerous, right? Where Caitlin Clark got hit by a fan that was storming the court. I would like to give a kudos and a shout out to Texas Tech and to our facilities team and our management team for they thought ahead. We have an exit plan for our opponents. There's a tunnel that goes behind our benches that allows them to get off the court safely, so that we can bring our fans down on the court and celebrate Lady Raider basketball.
Yeah, we're about to wrap up the interview. We're visiting with Lady Raider head coach Krista Gerlich here on the Chad Hasty Show. Tell fans what they can expect when they come out and see Lady Raider basketball this season.
Yeah, we're playing a really fun brand of basketball. We're in the full court defense, pressing. We're trying to turn people over, playing faster, shooting the 3 ball a lot. I mean, all the things that fans like to see. And our kids are going to play hard. And, we need that help because like I said, we are young, and so we still are trying to find some consistency, and we need every piece of it that we can get, and that comes from our fans. So if they'll come out and they'll fall in love with them, first of all, because they're such great girls, they'll love the brand that we're playing, and obviously it's always fun in the Big 12 to root against those opponents. So we need all the help we can get, and we just want to encourage them to continue to come out.
All right, Lady Raider basketball head coach Krista Gerlich, thanks for stopping by today.
Thank you. I always enjoy being here.
All right, when we come back, your phone calls, your text messages, and more right here on the Chad Hasty Show.
Clay Travis and Buck Sexton.
Coming up on the Monday edition of the Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show, the latest on the border showdown. We'll look at who's going to prevail. Is it Texas or the Biden regime? Plus, Josh Hammer joins us to talk about this, and Clay.
We'll also break down the ongoing battle between Donald Trump and Nikki Haley. What is the latest? What did the weekend bring us? We'll break it all down for you. Monday edition, Clay and Buck.
Clay Travis and Buck Sexton, Monday morning at 11.
Diane from Michigan, a disabled senior citizen trying to get by. Henry from Florida, a veteran fighting to make ends meet. Elena from Arizona, a mother struggling to feed her daughter. Hi, I'm Connie Britton, and I support Feeding America because they help provide over 6 billion meals to people in need each year, like Diane, Henry, and Elena. Learn more at feedingamerica.org. Feeding America, 200 food banks strong.
That. Welcome back to the Chad HD Show. Appreciate everyone joining us this evening. It's been kind of a real busy show for a Friday. Normally we relax a little bit and get ready for the weekend, get into a few fun topics out there. But listen, it's been a busy evening, and we're going to have more politicians who swing by next week, running for office, doing all that kind of good stuff. So 'tis the season for that happening. You still have time to get in on the text line, 806-680-2790. Now, Nick, do you have any big plans for the weekend? Are you going to watch any good movies this weekend? Anything?
I don't know about good movies.
Yeah.
But I think, we're gonna try to watch some movies. We haven't in a while.
And are you going to do the deal where you have the bowl on your head?
We're going to do the deal.
She wins?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, it's 4 in a row. So, I mean, I thought it was 50-50. I guess it's not. Or I'm just unlucky. Who knows? Maybe I should try lottery.
No, I think she has it rigged.
Oh,
That's simply what it is. Yeah,
that's probably it. Yeah.
Yeah. So all right. So just a normal weekend.
Just a normal week, hopefully.
Yeah.
If all goes well, it'll be just a normal, boring weekend. Yeah.
Well, that's good. That's good. I know we're trying out a new restaurant tonight, so that could go either way. That not necessarily new like just opened, but new for us. And I think my wife will like it. I'm kind of in the I'm a little questionable on it, but we'll see. We'll see. It's a little bit outside my comfort zone. There are certain things that I like to eat. There are certain certain cuisines that I enjoy, that I know that I'm going to enjoy, and then there are ones where I'm like, okay, it's kind of rolling the dice a little bit. Just rolling the dice a little bit. We did have a texter who sent in about Little Slice of Heaven in Abernathy and said, you may want to check because they're closed on the weekends. They thought, and I checked, and they are, which is probably why I haven't been there. And even though I've wanted to go, that probably explains why I haven't. 806-680-2790. You can send in your thoughts on the text line, weigh in on any of the topics that we have gotten to today, and of course sound off on anything making news on this Open Line Friday. Let's see this real quick. Let's see, out of the Wall Street Journal. This doesn't surprise me. An exclusive out of the Wall Street Journal: remote workers bear the brunt when layoffs hit. Laid off employees is complicated. New data suggests that managers tend to have an easier time showing remote workers the door. Workers logging on from home 5 days a week were 35% more likely to be laid off in 2023 than their peers who put in office time, according to an analysis of 2 million white-collar workers conducted by an employment data provider. The analysis showed 10% of fully remote workers were laid off last year, compared to 7% of those working in an office full-time or on a hybrid basis. Yeah, but let me ask you, did they kind of deserve to be laid off? Because here's the deal with remote working. And I there are some people who can do it and excel, and they're living their best life while doing remote work. And then there are some like me. If I just had a regular office job, which I can't imagine, but if I had a regular office job and I was remote working, I think I would get distracted a lot. What do you think, Nick? Do you think you could do a remote job? Yeah, you think you'd get distracted? Like the dog would distract me a lot.
Yeah, I was at Tech, when the pandemic first hit. And so all of our classes, went online. And so essentially we were all,
you were remote workers.
Exactly. We're working from home, doing all our homework, and there are a lot of distractions. Your bed, certainly not being the least. But yeah, just anything. Like you just
what do you say, that 8 a.m. class that would hit and you'd be like,
yeah, take a day off maybe.
I could do that lesson later. It's fine.
Yeah, all of a sudden the lawn looks a little more desirable to mow when you have all this free time.
Sure.
And you're like, I'll just do my homework later. I'm not meeting anyone. I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And things pop up and you're like, I'm home. I might as well just do it. And then, of course, the end of the day and your stress finishing everything. But, we've gotten a little taste, I think. I think most college students, or students in general, within the past few years have certainly seen the highs and lows of remote work.
Yes. Ben Runkles has sent an email in, which I'm a little bit surprised on part of this. Dear Chad, please tell Nick that I forgot his name the other day and called him Sweater Boy. I apologize. I'm sure he wears more than sweaters, probably joggers and Lululemon things. But I apologize. I hope he enjoys his rom-com weekend. Sincerely, Ben Runkles in Bovina. Now, I want to know how Ben Runkles, how he knows about the whole joggers and Lulu. Don't you agree? I mean, again, I'm not trying to profile people in Bovina, but Ben Runkles, who, let's be honest, we know that we believe that he's an older, agitated man.
Right.
And not someone that I would think would know about joggers, or Lulu, or number 3, the internet. And he's obviously weighing in here on that.
Well, I just recently found out first of all, Lululemon, which is a brand that they do. It's mainly women's exercise gear, leggings, mainly.
Yeah.
So the fact that I recently
I'm a fan.
Found out, okay, all right. Well, I just found out a couple of years ago what that even was. So I am surprised, and I got to admit, I'm a little impressed that he knows what those are.
I'm very shocked by it, and I hope he knows that a lot of that's like the Lulu stuff is made for women, and that he's not wearing. Listen, it's 2024. I mean, you can be whatever you want to be, do whatever you want to do. But I'm a little bit worried now about old Ben Runkles and Bovina and the wardrobe decisions by Ben Runkles. Enjoy your weekend, ladies and gentlemen. Stay safe, stay healthy. God bless you all. We'll see you back here Monday at 5 p.m.
I'm coming home, baby, now. Expect to see me now at any time. When you're in my arms, I'll be fine.
The Chad Hasty Show, a presentation of the Texas Town Square Media Network. The views and opinions expressed during the Chad Hasty Show are not necessarily the views of this station staff, management, advertisers, or Town Square Media.